Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome all. Thank you for registering for our course, How to Present a Conference Poster, that will be presented by Dr. Hattam Mursala. If you have any questions, send them to the chat during the course, and the doctor will answer all of them at the end. Or you can open the mic and ask your question by the end of the course. Dr. Hattam, if you're ready, you can start.
Sure. So good evening, everyone. My name is Hattam Mursala. I'm a plastic surgery resident at King Saud University Medical City. Before starting my presentation, I would like to thank the amazing audience for actually attending today and tuning in. And also I'd like to thank the organizers of Al-Qura University for giving me actually the opportunity to present. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, we'll have a solid base on how to effectively create a poster presentation, or whether it's in a virtual or in-person conference. And regarding this presentation, it will not take more than an hour, hopefully less. So we'll be talking about how to create an effective poster presentation. As a disclosure, I don't have any conflict of interest, and also like to say that the content of this presentation is not related nor affiliated to any institute. And personally, I don't have any research or epidemiology degree. Presenting and writing papers I consider it as a side hobby and something that I'm truly interested in, besides being me being a plastic surgery resident. So these are the objectives were sent by the organizers, which actually have added one more, the last part. We'll go through the objectives. What's the poster or oral presentation in the conference, and how to, the second objective is how to create an effective poster presentation. Third, guide and convey ideas, suggesting of preparing better scientific posters, important tips in presenting the poster, advantages of presenting research findings in conferences, and lastly, the hands-on part. So starting my presentation, what's actually is considered as a poster or oral presentation in a conference. A poster presentation at a conference with an academic or professional focus is the presentation of a research, whether it's a published research or an ongoing research in a form of paper poster that conference participants may view. A poster session which usually held in the event, which such posters are presented. But nowadays, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, most poster presentations are being virtually. So again, posters is considered as a display on boards, which scientists show data and describes experiment or recently to completed research, or as I said, ongoing research that have not yet published. Another definition, which is a poster, any piece of printed paper designed to be attached to a wall or a vertical surface. So poster presentation used in academia to promote and explain research work, and also I'll be explaining what's actually beneficial for us as medical students or interns in presenting posters or oral presentation, and typically shown, which is poster presentation usually shown during conferences or virtual webinars. So why should I actually present a poster, or why should I participate in presenting in oral presentations, etc.? These are a couple of reasons why I actually see why it's truly important to present in conferences or webinars. First, a poster session usually in conference or webinar is a good way to disseminate your work, particularly if your research falls within the know of that conference or webinar. It also gives you the opportunity to actively engage with others during the conference itself. In a way of actually, this can be an opportunity for you to actually have a defined topic of conversation. The second, actually, it's truly important, and it will definitely enhance your CV for presenting, whether it's oral or poster presentation. Third is an exposure. Fourth, a poster session is an ideal for early stages of research when you may not have much more than an idea, and you stand to benefit a lot from discussing your idea with other researchers from the same field. Actually, I have one of the conferences that I have presented one of my researches. I remember one of the committee, the organizing committee, was actually commenting on one of the things in the presentation itself, and it gave me a further research idea to conduct in the future. And lastly, the networking poster actually offers an opportunity to engage with the other conferences attendees interested in the same subject and application as yourself. And you might actually strike up a conversation with someone about your poster that may lead to future collaborations or future projects. So poster versus manuscripts. Posters have much greater visual impact. It contains less text. Most of the space will be used to illustrate the results, for example, images, tables, graphs, or charts. The materials and the methods and discussion sections should be briefed. Only the essential images, tables, or graphs should be selected. And lastly, the author decides the layout. So what's the difference between poster or oral presentation? As we can see here, this is an oral presentation, this is the poster. Poster audience can actually concentrate on parts they are most interested in, determine time to spend studying in material, and lastly, interacting visually with the presenter instead of in comparison to the oral presentation. So why should I attend the conferences? As I said before, for networking, to expand your knowledge, to find solution for further research ideas, to present your ideas and to work to others, for people to actually meet you, to learn beyond your field of interest, and lastly, to enhance your CV. So how to prepare for the poster itself? This is the main bulk of this presentation. So what should you know before starting your presentation? First, you have to know who's your audience, the main message of your presentation, what's the required dimensions by the conference itself for the poster, determine which style and programs you would like us to create in your poster. Keep in mind particular requirements for your field or conference. So this is the organization of the poster itself. I'll go through them all one by one. First, we have the title, followed by the introduction, methods, results, conclusion, and lastly, the references. Regarding the first part, which is the title and the author, it's usually 1 to 2 lines. It's extremely brief, informative, interesting. It should be attention-getting and inviting. The title should be not smaller than 55 points in type, which is the size of the words. If it was a poster presentation, you have to include your name, your university, as well as the faculty mentors' names and department, and also logos will be can actually be also added, as we can see here in this logo in your poster. In the introduction, it should be brief. You have to answer the following questions. What's actually the problem? Why it is significant? And the aim of the introduction is to motivate the audience, also to provide a roadmap regarding your poster. It actually gives a brief, and you have to give a brief introduction of your work and focus on the things that you have to work on. If you're working, for example, if you're working on a specific surgical technique, then it's truly important to discuss on the rule and the function of that surgical technique, and you may discuss the problem in which you have worked on during the research. The second part, which is the methods, it's about the recipe and the spices of your research work. Mention all the materials that you were required to do and to do the task, and how actually you conducted the research, whether it's you describe the steps you used for research, equipments used, whether it was a survey or a patient chart, etc. But not with much details. Also useful charts and figures. Followed by the results and data analysis. List major results, give some examples, write down your results, most possibly in the form of, it's preferably to be in the form of table. Try to not confuse your audience with so much numerical data. So I think like charts will be definitely work fine instead of actually writing the results. And highlight if there's something novel in your results. Followed by the discussion and the conclusion, which is the last part of the poster presentation. What can you conclude in the conclusion? some conferences that, because as I previously said, some conferences have their own guidelines. Some conferences or webinars they request to write a small discussion, and some of them they will just prefer to end your poster or oral presentation with a conclusion. So just in the conclusion, you have to remind the main results of your study, explain your opinions on the paper, indicate that your talk is actually over, and also try to interpret with your results to 2 to 3 points. The conclusion must be very meaningful for your audience and to be engaging, and preferably to be a single statement is actually also enough as a conclusion. Ending your presentation or the poster presentation with the major sources you have in your you actually use in your research project. This is the poster layout. As we can see here, the general format of a scientific poster. It have a title section in the top, 2 to 4 columns of information, your name and your place, followed by divided sections. Every poster have its unique sections according to the conference you're applying to. If you're not sure which section to include, make sure to read about the parts of the scientific poster, which it's held in every scientific conference. Actually, also using this layout makes sense with the research we're including, but here are some basics layout, as we can see here. And also, this is another poster layout, the title, the author, contact details. Also, you can apply, you can actually insert here your logo, your university, or your hospital logo. So we start with the introduction, methods, preferably with some images, followed by the results. Also, preferably to state your results in tables and chart. Lastly, the conclusion, finishing with your references. This is another poster layout. The same layout as I previously mentioned: introduction, methods, results, tables, conclusion, and references. All right, so regarding the poster illustrations, it has to be simple, clean, self-explanatory, require a minimum of supplemental text, and it's if it was actually an in-person poster presentation or in a conference that is not virtually, it has to be readable from 1.5 millimeters away. Sorry, meters. Regarding the illustrations, it's divided into 2 sections or 2 categories, whether figures or tables. Tables are all the illustrations in which that data are placed in the columns and rows. Figures, anything else that is not a table, for example, graphs, charts, technical drawings, or even maps or photographs. Especially this can be used in case reports, poster presentation. You preferably include the images or the photographs of your patient you're presenting about in the case report. I truly agree with this saying, which is a picture is worth of 1,000 words, especially when it comes to poster presentations. These are other figures usually used. One of the important things in image quality or the photographs is you have to include the pictures in high efficiency, and also the quality itself. You have to ensure image clarity to make sure that all the parts of the figure are actually clear. For example, here it's not clear enough, and label all the important parts, label the key sections and the parts of the schematic diagrams and photographs to the data itself. As a recap, the scientific posters content. So we start with the title, background, your objective, purpose of the study, followed by the methods, followed by the results. Usually you use figures, as I previously said, or tables. Then the conclusion, lastly, the references. Regarding the poster sizes, also this actually must be announced by the conference you're applying to or the webinar. Every conference have their own unique or requirement for the poster size, but usually the known poster sizes are explained in this chart. And also, as we can see here, the A0, which is usually the most commonly used. Also, some of the conferences, they ask for the A1. Regarding the poster creation, there are different programs usually used in poster creating a poster. I personally prefer to use PowerPoint, but here there are other poster creation programs. For example, Adobe, Microsoft Publisher, Microsoft PowerPoint, Adobe Illustrator, Brizy, Google Slides, Canva, Quark, and GIMP. Important tips before actually printing your poster: you have to proofread a printed copy before the final print and make sure everything fits perfectly. And also you have to check the spelling and grammar again before proceeding with the printing. Regarding the poster design in the PowerPoint, text can be typed directly in or cut and paste from the existing documents. You can import chart, tables, diagrams, print the poster out at A4, so you just have to double check if everything clear and it's perfect before printing the final poster. Regarding the font sizes, I personally use these font sizes for the poster for actually in a hard copy poster. The title should be the size of an 80, the author's 45, subheading 36, body text preferably to be 24 point, captions should be 18. You have to ensure that the fonts are large and easy to read. The words need to be legible from 1.5 meters away. Restrict boldface to little or headings. Never ever put underlines. Regarding the font types, I prefer these fonts. For example, for title and headings, I prefer Arial or Verdana. For the larger block of text, sometimes I use the Roman, Garamond, or the Times New. And preferably to not use more than 3 different fonts. Regarding the colors, try your very best to choose wisely. It matters a lot. Don't use the color of your background, which can distract from the message itself. Do not combine either. There's 2 different types of colors, whether it's a primary color or complementary. I will explain in a bit. The primary colors, they are the red, the green, the blue. These are the 3 primary colors. The complementary, which can be cyan, magenta yellow, black, except the yellow on the black. I prefer to choose light colors rather than the dark colors. As we can see here in this poster, they actually use the dark colors, and here is more of a lighter or brighter colors. Regarding selecting in colors in the PowerPoints, there are, if you will create your poster presentation on a PowerPoint, there's the colors option. You can perfectly choose the best colors for your presentation. I mean, your poster. And also you can choose the colors from the images or the graphs you will be including in your poster. For example, in this poster, they since their graphs and the images are in blue and red, they have used these colors in their poster. Also, there's another website which is known as the Paletone, which is a color scheme designer. You can choose like whatever color is suitable for you, and it will demonstrate the other colors that can be used besides the primary color you choose. Remember, a good poster which tells a story, it can be read from, as I previously said, 1.5 to 2 meters away. Poster content should be about 60% images, illustrations, tables, and 40% text. It has to be interesting and eye-catching. It has to be simple, clean, uncluttered design. Uses clear language and images in a logical sequence. Summarize the key points without excess details. As well as you have to be able to briefly explain your work. You have to ask questions, be open to receiving feedback, dress professionally if it will be an actually in-person conference presentation, or especially if you're a student. Smile and offer to answer any questions. Bring a business card if you have, and lastly, bring a handout if needed. Regarding general questions, these are the common questions can be asked by the attendees, which is, can you run me through your poster presentation? How did you get interested in this project? Were the findings what you expected? What was the most difficult aspect of this project? What have other people in your field found? So just like before actually presenting, keep in mind an answer for all of these questions. One of the conferences I have attended previously, I've actually took this image from one of the judges, gave it to me, and as it's a judge viewpoint. What's the judge of the poster presentation usually cares in the poster presentation itself. For example, as we can see here, it's in a quick judging form for the conference posters. They judge on the word count, the white spaces, layout and flow, background color, image attribution, font choice and size, the spelling itself, the content of the presentation, the framing of the issue, hypothesis, the procedure, the results of itself, conclusion, followed by they will be judging also the presentation skills that being provided by the attendee or the participant. Is it engaging, and how the presenter knows about his topic. Also, this is another judge viewpoint. They have two categories. They judge the first the poster and the researcher himself. This is an actual and appealing poster, an example. As you can see here, it has a lot too much text. The background image is truly distracting. The text box backgrounds are dark, as well as we can see on all different colors. So this can be a lesson for preventing or trying your very best in choosing your design of your poster. Following by the next objective of this presentation, which is how to prepare the presentation itself. Before starting presentation, you have to know following points. Know your topic really well. Be sure you understand the paper itself. You have to know the whole paper, not just because the discussion or some part of the paper itself is not being part of the poster, so you do not know about it. You have to read the whole paper and know each and every line and word. Know who you're about to present to. Your talk must take the audience into account. Know your goals, what your expectations of the audience, know your limits, how much time will be needed. This is definitely truly important, especially the time. Some competitions in poster presentation, they actually can give you a lower total score because you exceeded the time limit. Organize your ideas, identify the key ideas, make sure that all the key ideas of the paper are in your talk. Do not go into too many details. Try to give a brief and focus to the essentials and use examples. Use a top-down approach, starting wide and finishing narrow. Structure your talk, as I previously said, introduction, methods, results, and conclusion. Regarding the speaking part, try your very best to speak slowly, steadily, and loud. Do not speak mentally, and try to avoid something to drink or avoid actually having a gum. Find the right words, prepare some full sentences to say during the talk. Transitions are the key. in preparing transitions between the slides. And humorous is okay, but actually it's not. I don't think it's suitable in such situation. Regarding the show itself, do not be monotonous. Try to make your voice vary slightly. Make the audience participate in your presentation. Maintain if it was in a live conference. Try your maintain eye contact. Control your positions. Control your timing. And if you actually made a mistake, just the show must go on. Regarding the last step, practice. So just do your best, prepare your presentation well, know every word and line of your manuscript. Try to actually prepare the presentation in a proper design, and as all the previously tips I have really mentioned. Regarding the hands-on part, this is the last objective. If you can just give me 2 minutes to prepare to open the tab. All right, so here we have a conference that will be held in May. It's about an Emirates Plastic Surgery Society. So usually conferences, they announce their conference, and when is usually the last day or the deadline of their submitting posters. This is the homepage of the conference. You can go through. Usually, you find like all the information about the conference itself, and then you can find like the program, the speakers, etc. And as you can see here, submit the e-posters. You click on it. So every conference or every webinar, usually they have their own guidelines for the attendees that would like to submit their work. As we can see here, everything is clearly mentioned and explained for the attendees regarding their poster presentation. So as we can see here, the action research for the e-poster, they outline what sections they need in your poster. Also the word counts, the brief introduction about the topic. Also, they're mentioning the deadlines. Regarding the e-poster presentation guidelines, I think this is actually the most important thing before participating in any poster presentation is to read the guidelines properly before submitting your work. They stated their word counts here. All the requirements are clearly stated, as well as you can see here the size of the poster and the font size. So as a take-home message, I truly believe in a good poster cannot make up for a bad research, but a bad poster can make a good research hard to recognize. These are the references and additional resources I have used. And also, some of these links are truly important. You can take a picture of it and try to look it up. So thank you so much for tuning in. And also, this is a link in the survey regarding. I would like to have a feedback from you all. إذا ممكن بس تفتحوا هذا الرابط وتعطيني your feedback ويعطيكم الف عافيه.
شكرا دكتور، يعطيك العافية على المعلومات المفيدة، إن شاء الله
بس
الكل يكون استفاد. اللي عنده سؤال يقدر يكتبه في الشات، الدكتور حيشوف حيجاوب عليه إن شاء الله.
I'll read the questions one by one. How do I know the international or national conferences that accept students' poster or oral presentation? What are the things that to keep in mind when applying to those conferences? Regarding the acceptance, I don't think there's any conferences that I particularly accept whether if you're a medical student or intern, it does not matter as long as you would like to submit your work and you follow their guidelines. They will definitely will let you in participating. And regarding the things that you should keep in mind when applying to those conferences, just follow your guide, the guide that have been mentioned in the website. And once your poster get accepted, prepare well. The next question by Dr. Lujin Al Yusuf: how to answer the questions asked during discussion following oral presentation in efficient manner. So it depends on the questions that being asked. Most of the questions, the answers of the questions can be found in the manuscript itself. However, some questions, they're a bit difficult to answer. And yeah, one of the tips that I've truly learned in answering the questions, especially when it comes to presenting papers, some of the judges, they give you future ideas, or they ask you something like why you didn't do this or you didn't add that in your manuscript. You can just simply reply back by saying this is truly amazing comment. I'll just add it as in the future recommendation of our manuscript. Or you can just say we'll definitely consider this idea for your future research opportunities or the future research papers. Another question by Dr. Dahana. Dean, I'm sorry, regarding the preferences that we should put in the poster, should we include all the references used in the actual research paper or select the ones that used in the poster or the most important ones? Thanks, Doctor. All right, so regarding the question, the references, I prefer to use the references that have been mentioned in the poster itself. For example, usually the references used in the introduction only. So you just cite the references that have been mentioned in the references. I don't think it will exceed more than 5 references maximum. Regarding the references, yeah, the same question. Another question by Dr. Rawan. How do I know the international, or this already answered. Right. يعطيكم الف عافيه، واذا عندكم اي اسئله واستفسارات هذه ايميلي وهي حساب انستغرام وحساب في تويتر. وشكرا لكم وان شاء الله استفدتوا، واذا ممكن برضه زي ما قلت لكم ثاني انه تعبوا هذا السيرفي، ومن اول مره اقدم على هذا البرزنتيشن، فيعني I truly appreciate your feedback وعشان احسن من ال future presentations that I would like to conduct. يعطيكم الف عافيه.